On Sunday, it'll be mostly sunny with a high of 57. For KTUI, I'm Mark Perry.
KTUI time is 10:05, and the current temperature is 68 degrees. I'm Sam Scott for KTUI.
Ready, set, go.
We were already going, just like mid.
Go ahead.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gasconade County. 70 degrees here at airtime and a little hazy clouds out there, but an awful lot of blue sky. The sun looks pretty bright this morning and the grass is growing, and we've had a week now without any extra moisture, and not that I usually ask for that, but I said at church last Sunday that I would say by this next Sunday we'll all be wanting a little moisture, and probably not too far off of that. The ground is really dried out this week, and should allow Grace to get some manure spread the next few days, or maybe not her, but you can fark it on, Grace, right?
I could.
Yeah. Yes, you could. Well,
I think I had better things to do this week.
you think so? Well, I don't know. Hey, good for you to be along with us this morning on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching on Facebook Live. I think we got technically here in the winery all fixed up again or something. We were down a little bit.
Yep.
But it's we got a good IT guy, and he got it back going, and that's good. I don't know how many of you out there have trouble with technology, but wow, I have a lot of difficulty. I don't even go there. I can't even get my television if something's just a little bit wrong with the remote, or the kid changed the remote from one room to the other or something. I'm lost.
That's why they make grandchildren. You just
I
hand it
know.
to them, and they reprogram it for you.
And they can do that ASAP. There's no question about it at all. But anyway, that's all good. You Cardinal fan, 2 in a row out at Colorado this week, and that's never been done before. They said they've never won 2 in a row there. They're maybe playing a little better the last couple of games, but kind of behind the curve with their one loss. I think 4-7 now or something. But wow, got to talk a little bit about this new young man that's playing this Walker. 20 years old. He has now hit in 12 consecutive games.
Pretty good record.
Pretty good record. 20 years old. Never, Clyde. And I'm not an avid baseball guy, but I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to, grow a little bit, in this area. But that's pretty amazing. It's not,
What does he play for the Cardinals?
He plays for the Cardinals.
Yeah. What position?
That's, I think, left field.
But he gets paid to have fun.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but he's 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? And
Sounds
hitting
phenomenal.
for the first time out, and I seen him, happened to go to the opening game. He hit the first, first time up at bat in that kind of an, audience, got a hit, and then 12 consecutive games after that has got a hit, and he's 20 years old, and that hasn't been done since like 1917 or something to that degree.
Well,
so it's amazing, and those little things that I guess if you get into it, those really are kind of great things to watch every day, But anyway,
good to see young people successful. Accomplishing
passion,
something.
Clyde. It is great to see young kids or young people that have a passion to do something.
Do anything.
That's what it takes, That's exactly what it takes for us to continue to survive and thrive is passion in something, that's positive,
That surviving looks nearly questionable at times right now.
It does, and that's part of what we want to talk about somewhat today is the culture and where we are what maybe ideas we have that can, inspire some young people, you know what I'm saying, in regard to what is out there right now. But to begin with, Rosebud lost a great young man here recently, Chief of Police Griffith in Rosebud and also City of Herman. But Rosebud is responding on the top shelf for this young man and his family. I understand that his son is, just awesome. He's just a young man, you know what I'm saying, 4 or 6 years old or whatever.
Well, they're the little one's about this tall, I don't know, 10 or 12
Right.
maybe.
About
There's a
10.
bigger one that I'm not really very
there's two
familiar
boys.
with.
Okay.
That's Wood Fire
The one-
Department.
The one you see a lot will be in a little police uniform,
Yeah.
marching in
Yes,
front of the
yes,
parade.
that's what I was.
Him and one of my grandkids say they want to be cops, and they dress up and they have fun. And yeah, Mason's a good man. He raised a good family. He did a good job in Herman as a police officer. He did a good job in Rosebud as a chief. As someone that used to be the chief there, many times, well, 4 or 5 times, he'd call or I'd call him, and we'd talk about what's the best way to get something done for smaller communities. So
Well, community policing,
Yeah.
Clyde, and you were that way. My icon on that was Bob Waymar.
Bob was
Because
just
I grew
wonderful
up
to me.
with Bob, and Bob slapped my brother's hands.
Bob caught me
No, he
throwing
doesn't
tomatoes.
slap my hand, but he give me a break or two, give my brother a break or two, but true community policing, and Griffith was just exactly like that, was he not?
Yeah, he was very.
Had the trust of the people.
He's buried right there in Rosebud. You could visit his grave. We're working on a memorial right now. Now, I only saw the info on that yesterday. You may have, but there is some kind of a memorial where we're raising some money, and I just saw it yesterday, so I don't know much about it. And we just had that parade. Did we say that? That was
Oh,
Good
yes,
Friday
that parade was Saturday.
Good Friday.
Friday.
Good Friday, Good Friday.
evening.
Well attended.
Oh, yeah. Big turnout.
1,000. Was there that many?
Oh,
It was-
there was that many people.
Yeah, it was a long. I was in the parade, but when you're in the parade, you don't get to see
Don't
the
see
parade.
it.
No.
But
it
I was
long.
I was close to the front, very short behind the last of the fire trucks. So by the time we ran the route and I made it to the Legion Hall, I right quick went back to the office, unhooked off of my egg float that I was pulling, and came back up and caught the end of the parade
Wow.
before they made it into the
Yeah.
park grounds.
And obeyed all the traffic laws in regard
Oh,
to
yeah.
that.
Oh, absolutely.
But we were lucky. Instead of going up Highway 50, Rosebud has that parallel. I think it's Rosebud Avenue.
Ran all the way
So
up past
you end up in the same
911.
place, and you just run through a lot of little tiny stop signs.
Well, it's, my statement when this occurred is this community, and I'm talking collective community because he's part of Herman, Gasconade County. And, we always look for the silver lining, or most of us do, you know what I'm saying, in the cloudy skies. But if any good is coming out of it, it is bringing the communities closer together and understanding for a lot of people, including the little ones, that life is very precious, and we have to work together in order to resolve and solve our issues and our problems.
I look at that as something that really didn't need to happen, didn't have to happen. I blame it on judges and prosecuting attorneys. If back over the last 10, 12, 15 years, the guy that shot and killed Mason had been put in jail where he belonged and kept there, he wouldn't have been out there to shoot him.
Well, that's true.
Wasn't the gun's fault.
10% of the people do 90% of the crime. If you
Oh.
lock up that 10% when they asked for it, or it was much more severe and harsh with them, look how much repeated crime would not have happened, would not exist.
It's less than 10%.
All right, that's also I did not
Nothing
know.
tells us if you guys,
Dan says it's less than 10%. I think it's 10%.
He worked the real law enforcement.
yes, he did.
I
And
was-
and served
was
this
al-
country, you know, in the
Yeah.
military, and I have awesome respect, you know, for both of you.
I was only county sheriff for a short time with old Elmer Gerloff.
Sheriff, you was a deputy under
I
Elmer.
was a deputy.
Did you see that in the paper?
Yeah, I
It was in
did.
the paper a couple weeks ago. It said 50 years
A
ago.
couple months ago, 50
It listed
years
off, and
ago.
it had Dad as deputy under Elmer Gerloff, and then
Yeah.
I ended up, and I was a reserve under Epker for a while in city marshal. So I had different people say, "My God, Clyde, how?" Because they were getting confused between the two Clydes. How old are you? I look great for 79.
Not quite,
78.
not
I
quite.
just
Closer
rounded.
than 8, though. I'm past that halfway point. But look, all the years ago, I worked the playgrounds.
Yes,
General
of course you did.
peacekeeper, doorman.
Did your family own that at one time?
My
Yes.
dad did, my
Yes.
brother did. But I could see then, it's a very, very small percentage of the general population that causes a vast majority of all the trouble. We'd have nights out there, 200 or 300 people, everybody dancing, having a great time, no problem. Other nights, here this one little individual or two comes along, they just can't behave themselves. They gotta get in trouble, so.
I totally understand and I agree, and you know that few minority, that little minority is what right now controlling an awful lot of what's going on in this country, or trying to control what's going on. But in regard to these criminals that get an easy rap, and continue to be out amongst us. Now, this individual had a warrant against him for a pretty long period of time.
Several warrants from what I read.
Several warrants from different areas for different things, and
Which
had
means he
been
was
in
on
and
the
out.
run. He was already hiding.
He was on the run, but there had to be almost some premeditation to this situation, the way I look at it, because at least a lot of practice, because you don't keep your cool. You know what I'm saying? When you're under fire like that, and be able to fire your gun and hit, police officers as accurately as he had, unless he worked an awful lot and shot an awful lot in
Right,
regard to
that's
being
true.
able to do that. So he had to have a mindset of taking somebody out,
Well,
Well, I wish he was.
And then he.
And we still got another officer that, I don't know the other officer's name, but he's
He's in
So-
Colorado now.
yeah, and he's
Rehab.
on the road to recovery.
Hitting the head. And from what I understand, Mason was hit just above the vest,
Yeah, that's what I was told.
high chest or neck area, which,
But
that takes incredibly shooting under stress, is what I'm trying to say. And it just, anyway, that's part of it, and we have to bring our judicial system in line to and bring them and hold them accountable. That's a lot of that is done underneath the elements of the law, which we all support, but there's just an awful lot of discretion sometimes in regard, and there's not that there shouldn't be, but we need to hold that discretion in our judgeship to the highest degree. They need to have discretion. But we have the opportunity a lot of times to at least vote on a lot of these federal, on a lot of these judges, on who we want to do it, and the people need to speak clearly there and tell them that we want to keep law and order.
I vote with my money, and I vote with my feet. And if we get to this, what is it, Bud Light? If we get to the
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch thing, I'm not going to give them another penny. I'm not going to support. I'm not a drinker anyway, but I will not support. If I find out that there is a company that is actively working against what I think is best for the United States, I will make sure that I don't support them.
right, you don't get your nickels.
Exactly, and that's
That's a transition into a new subject.
No, but we were headed there anyway, because this whole transgender thing and this movement that is amongst us. You know, there are so many different levels and there's so many different things here, but I don't. There's not really a bottom line to it, just discussion. But I wonder how. I think the number of transgenders in this country is less than 0.5%
1.9% of the
1.9.
U.S.
of,
adults.
of
are
transgenders.
yes.
Now, that's the now. And if you backed up 10 years ago, I
less
never
than
heard
one.
of such a thing, or at least it was very super rare.
But think of this. Just think of the calculation, okay, that an executive made. You know, that probably, I don't know this, but I doubt if it was born and bred in the Midwest. You know what I'm saying, where Budweiser came from. You know, I mean, since InBev bought this, it's a global situation. Their thinking is totally different. But to make a decision, okay, you know, putting your billions of dollars behind, you know, 1% of the population,
Is not
what
good
kind of a
business.
business savvy is that? You know,
Their stock has went just like this ever since.
for as of yesterday, like almost $6 billion lost.
Loss. Well,
$6 billion. It went from like 66 or $7 a share to like 61 or $2 a share. And I don't know that it's over yet, because I tell you what, there are bartenders, you know, there are distributors in the Midwest that are shaking in their boots, you know, because it's a big thing, and it's a huge thing for all of us. The jobs that they create and the opportunity, you know, and people are.
Maybe they should just, not just Anheuser-Busch now. A company needs to focus on their job. Your job is to provide a service. If you're selling beer, then make sure that the label looks good and that I can understand it and that it's appealing. If I'm selling candy bar, why do they always have to make some political statement? They don't. And maybe that's the lesson to be learned here. Your job is to sell something, not to get involved in politics.
And as a business, absolutely. And you'll notice here, even things that I, people that I totally support. I don't hang signs here, political signs on the winery here, because this is open and I need everybody.
Right.
You know, I need everybody. And Clyde, your business and your business is no different. You know, you're going to do, if you know, somebody comes and asks you to do something, you're in business to serve, you're going to do that to the best of your ability in most all circumstances. Now, you go, you know, 500 yards down and I put my Republican sign up and, you know, I support, you know, whatever there with signage or whatever. But as a business, I try to draw that line
Right.
in regard to, you know, not trying to make anybody, now, and the radio here is a little bit different. I just try to bring out the discussion about facts, such as why, and is 1.5, is that just transgender, right, Grace?
1.9 of adults
Okay,
in the
well,
U.S. and 300,000 are ages 13 through 17.
now grab that. 300,000 is between 13 and 17 that are aspiring and are transgender individuals from 13 to 17.
A
Hello?
13-year-old does not know what's best.
Hello?
Right.
A 17-year-old.
A 17-year-old just thinks he knows and
Most
still
of them
doesn't know
don't
what's best
either.
for him.
They're
Right.
the smartest people in the world till they get out and deal with the world.
I got a message from my wife though, since Emma, shut the garden hose off. Shut the garden hose off. I just thought about that.
Right.
So, the whole thing of, and you know, we all have these in our family, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to make judgments against anyone and their personal beliefs. I can have my beliefs, but I try not to make absolute judgments against any of those, because I'll say what I think is right, you know, but you know, there are different things in my mind in regard to this LGBTQ whatever all of those things is, and you know, homosexuality and gays and those particular things, they're kind of transient. I have people in my family, you know what I'm saying, that were married to woman, you know what I'm saying, had a child together, and guess what? There was a divorce that happened there, and the gal got remarried, you know what I'm saying, to a man. So, you know, there are times in your life, you know what I'm saying, when things change. So I think experimenting with, you know, even though I don't agree with it, I kind of understand experimenting with some of that. But when you start manipulating your body, okay, you know, and changing from a man to a woman, it's a lot deeper, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion, that is no reversing that, you know, and it's going to change, you know, personality, and it's going to change whatever, and, you know, not that it always hasn't been there, because look in the Bible, how many times they talk about eunuchs, you know, and, you know, those individuals that kings castrated, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Now, do you think they lined up? Do you think they volunteered for some of them jobs? I doubt it.
now, redneck would not, Clyde, I guarantee you that, you know?
I basically, I kind of live and let live, and you do what you want and what you think is right, and in the end, we'll all answer for our own, you know, when God looks at us and judges us, we'll answer and stand on our own 2 feet. So my problem is when it's thrown in my face and forced on me,
Exactly.
and then you start telling me to spend my taxpayers' money doing something that seems not good for society, the country we live in. So I do agree it is complicated, and I really wouldn't want to tell someone how to live their life, because I don't want that person to tell me nothing. But if you're talking about young people, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, then we as a society should say, no, this is not good. You get up to be 21 years old and on, well, then you do what you want to do. But until then, I am against it. I'm against
Well,
some of these.
and who pays for it? You know what I'm saying? You know, the healthcare system, you know, for the very most, they pay for all of these particular situations. That's all of us, you know what I'm saying? That is all of us that pay those bills, Clyde, right?
Well, that would be very unnecessary
Healthcare
surgery.
system doesn't pay for a lot of stuff. I think they should. Because I pulled this bicep muscle off up here in the shoulder about 8 months ago or so. And I went into the doc, say, hey, here about 15 years ago, you put this one back up and do that again here. You know what I was told? He said, you're too old for us to do that. That's cosmetic surgery. It's exactly what they said.
If that's
I
cosmetic
didn't
surgery,
think
what's
it
this
made me look any
transgender stuff?
damn better, you know?
You're not thinking about the transgenders.
You ain't gonna,
You get something paid for free, I guess.
you ain't gonna hook that Medicare. You ain't gonna hook my arm back up so it works a little better. Huh? Well, waste of money.
Well, and how
We're gonna
do
get in trouble on
this, we're headed there, Clyde, but it's okay,
That's the plan.
you know?
Well, I wasn't running for office or anything,
No,
so what
no.
do I care?
You know, these, you know, these far left liberals, okay, make judgments about us rednecks all the time. You know, and you don't believe that, huh?
No, sir.
I mean, they are totally, and whoever brings them to accountability, you know what I'm saying? Whoever says anything
You look at
about
Hollywood.
what,
Sometimes Hollywood will, because I believe in God and believe in something greater and bigger, they'll make me out to be an idiot. How can you believe in something you don't see? And then I'll tell them, look, all you got to do is look outside and I can see the work of God. But Hollywood starts out trying to make sure that a Christian in particular, or anyone that has any faith, is seen as an idiot. And I feel sorry for them. I don't know how they don't see it.
There's no question about it, but those are the ones that are driving, you know, these issues in regard to where we are, and we just got to get a handle on these things and keep it in perspective, you know, for them not to tear down all the pillars of our society that every one of us grew up with. You know, and that's exactly where they're headed. You know, they are trying to destroy, you know, faith, and they're trying to destroy the family, you know, and they're trying to destroy individuals that have a moral core, you know, and they're coming against all of those particular things, which what do we have left then? What do we have left if there is no belief and support, you know what I'm saying, of those particular things that are biblical? The Constitution of the United States is very much based on the biblical commandment, you know, that Moses brought down, you know, do not kill, do not, you know,
steal,
adultery, you know, all of those things are, I guess I should be able to rattle them off a little quick. Clyde,
You got one. You got one.
no other God before me. Honor thy father and mother, that the days may be long.
Right.
And that's gone too.
That's a two-pronged thing.
That's
if
gone.
you honor
Yes.
Mom, did you make sure that they know that this is my dad, or did we cross that bridge? That this is Clyde Zelf
I think they're
Senior, this
figured
is
out.
Clyde's- all right. But it's,
Yeah, I'm the old man, you know.
yeah, we're not brothers. I just
Yeah, they
did a
are.
welding
They're,
job
you
in
know.
Sullivan. Just went to Sullivan a couple days ago. Looked at a welding job that I had to work on, and she knows Uncle Joe, and she's like, "Well, you're Clyde Zelch. I thought Clyde Zelch was Uncle Joe's big brother." So it gets confusing sometimes.
Well,
I said,
there's quite a
I'm-
few Zelshes
I'm the younger
around.
one.
And Clyde, how your brothers? How much age is there in your family from the oldest brother to the youngest? About how many years?
Charlie was the oldest. He's basically 5 years older than me.
Okay.
And then Glenn, who's a couple years older than me. Then Linda, Fred, Joe, Vern, Randy, Christy, Steve, and Sherry Jean, who's been gone since 87. I
How
believe.
old was she? Was she the youngest?
She was 26, I believe, when she died.
So how many years, Brad? That's a long.
Well, I'm crowding 79, and I think Steve,
Yeah, but you're the third.
I'm the third down.
So Charlie's 5 years older than that, or
Yeah.
would be.
So he'd be like 83 right now.
And Steve was about what?
62, I
And
believe.
Sherry was
To
one
maybe
younger.
4, I'm not sure.
20.
I think Grandma was 42 when she had Sherry. I
That,
believe, because, you know, it was, now some
Well,
women
she
are
was
having
born in-
children a little longer than, but at that time, that was
Pretty
pretty
amazing. You know, that was.
So that's 11. 11 on your side. I'm the oldest of 7, and then I had 6. And I just found out that I've got my 18th grandchild on the way.
oh,
And I'm little Clyde.
Congratulations.
hey, that's
Congratulations.
something I heard. Any truth to this?
What's that?
What's that?
Go ahead, babe. You
You
know?
can say it.
Huh?
I know you want to.
Yes, we are got number 10 on the way too, Clyde.
Grandchild.
Not to be outdone on a radio show. You know, Gracie said, and I don't think she's got all of her inner circle told yet, but too bad.
Find out soon enough, I guess.
I thought it might have been a rumor when I heard this. You know?
She is. So we opened a golden egg on Easter, and guess what? She is going to have a baby in November.
That makes how many
The
for you?
plan.
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just getting started. You
Yeah.
know. You know. So
I think that's fantastic.
you know, there is nothing in the world that I pray for, you know, anymore other than peace and grandkids.
Yeah.
I don't know if they go together. You know. I mean that.
But listen,
Hope they're all healthy.
to be serious, I feel lucky and blessed that I was born and got to live, and you both are just slightly older than I am. I've been to 30 countries. This is the best country I was ever in. All right, and I've been in 4 or 5 all-out wars where it's just coming unglued. They're shooting at me, and I'm shooting at them. And since we're in the United States, now you've been to every state, but I
Except
guess I've
Hawaii,
been to
yeah.
most.
Have you?
Every state except Hawaii. From what I'm told, you're not
You
missing
been to Alaska too, or
Oh, yeah.
Many
Drove
times.
more than 5,000 miles in Alaska.
I want to do that.
I
sometime.
looked it over. Yeah.
But Missouri and the sliver we live in, Gasconade County, Crawford County, just general
Pretty
area
country,
here,
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how nice it is. And when you hear some of this insane things, you think, well, that must be on the extreme edges of the United States where the salt water affects their thinking, which I would agree.
Yeah.
I think the salt water does affect
It rusts the cars out, no
something.
doubt their guts.
But
and
we're
minds.
lucky here. We're lucky here, and I just want it to stay good for my children and grandchildren. And what's wrong with that?
It's our purpose, you know what I'm saying, and it's our plight, and it's what we must try to do, to try to hold on to those traditional values that are getting slammed up and down by a certain amount of people. Very few, most people agree with us, you know, to the bigger picture, but that's our plight. That's our fight, you know, to hold on to what our values are. Speaking of politics, okay, we got a presidential campaign coming our way here that is, you know, it's up and down and sideways and back and forth. And, you know, I know all of us right here voted for Trump numerous times. I will vote for him again, you know, if he is our nominee. But my butt is, I would just assume that he not be our nominee. That I've never spoke that way before, you know what I'm saying, publicly. I don't think his ability to lead and win is there, you know what I'm saying, against whatever
in
is
the
coming
general
down
election.
in the general election. And that's a big concern because I don't want to lose those values, you know what I'm saying, that we talked about. And I think it's a legitimate thing that needs to be talked about. Because, you know, I'm not the only Republican, you know what I'm saying, that are skeptical, you know what I'm saying, of this guy. And we don't know what's ahead in the next year. You know that there's going to be probably more court days, you know what I'm saying, for him as we move forward.
But are we not? No, I think Trump did a fantastic job, especially when you consider the headwinds that he had to go against. So if he was here, I would say you did a good job. I'm glad you became the president, and I plan on voting for him again, and I support him because I feel like would it not be possible to just accuse you of something just because I don't want you to win a political office? And if we give up on him, are we not just doing what the other side wants? But having said that, there's got to be some strategy to winning.
Hey,
There is got to be some strategy.
They raided his house to collect up these top secret papers.
Maybe.
And what have they really accomplished?
I've seen top
Right?
secret documents that I don't believe should have even been called top secret.
Right. What's
But,
the big secret here? Anybody that's paying attention knows what's going on.
Sure.
You know, what they prove, little more than he is one of the few halfway honest people in D.C. And there ain't a whole bunch of them, you know.
They found documents that crossed the ladder up and down and through on all the presidents. You know what I'm saying? You go back to Bush, yeah, he had a few, and, you know, Clinton obviously had, you know, more than just a few. So that, and you know, some of the or some of the people like Bill Barr, you know what I'm saying, who's, you know, was his attorney general, he thinks that that's the one, if he gets indicted on, may have some teeth in it. You know what I'm
These
saying?
documents.
Yes.
But
I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Look
above
at
me.
President Biden, who has all his stuff stored, or some of his stuff stored in the garage on a concrete floor.
Yeah.
A garage door that's open and closed and people come and go. How secure was that? At least this was Mar-a-Lago with Secret Service. I think it's crazy anymore. I have never in my life seen so many people who have lost faith in the FBI, the Justice system, Justice Department, the justice system, period, whether we're talking about federal or all the way down. I've never seen so many people just say, I don't
Got no
have
faith
any
in it.
faith anymore. I
And-
wish we could change that.
I do, but I don't think we're going to change that by Trump saying let's defund FBI. like he did last week, you know.
Not defund them, but there is a group right off the top ought to be fired.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
FBI and CIA and several others. Fire them, you're gone, get out of here.
I
And
agree.
Put some new people in.
And I don't know if
And
he
law
said-
enforcement is no different, Clyde, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
They need to get rid of the bad, you know, the bad characters in there, and they know who it is. You know, for the most part, they know
Yes.
who is,
That'll back you all the way up to whatever it was in Milwaukee or somewhere up in there. The guy that knelt on his neck until he was dead.
yeah.
And he stood there with his hand in his pocket like, ain't I having
Yeah.
fun?
And there's plenty
He
of
was
people.
no
4 or
good,
5
but they
guys-
knew he was no good for years and wouldn't get rid of him.
But if it comes to, if you was to ask me, and I'm very pro-law, very pro-fire, very pro-military, I think all of your organizations on the federal level should, I'm not gonna say defund them, but I would think they should shrink some and that the responsibility should return back to the state. I really wish that we looked at our country more like the states united rather than saying the United States. And if you read some of our forefathers and our founding fathers, their attitude was much more things would come out of the state more, and then if you didn't like a particular state, you could take your money and your feet and kind of move around. Somewhere along the line, the governors, and it's their fault, the governors have maybe let too many things go and to be on the federal level. But at the FBI, I have no faith in the FBI. I do not trust the FBI. They already know that. I've already told them, so now I've told them again.
Well, and I agree with a lot of what you said, Clyde, in regard to allowing, you know, the states, you know, to have more right and control. I do agree with that. But if you go back and think about the vision and the purpose why the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover, who has been corrupt our entire lifetime, Clyde.
Yeah.
The FBI has been corrupt, and there are people from both sides of the party. That's, you know,
Absolutely.
that's what sabotage, and you know, from a military standpoint, you know, that's what intelligence is about. 100% of intelligence is trying to default the facts and trying to, you know, have your own story. That's goes back forever, and it will continue to. The only thing about decentralizing the FBI is every state's going to have a different take, you know what I'm saying, on what they want to do. I think California already got a different take, you know, which is nuts, but do you understand that, I mean, you understand that a lot of this now is coming to light because of the internet and because of access and because of leakage and whatever. But, you know, that's what intelligence gathering is all about, is to
Well, it's
deface
they
the truth.
manipulate. They tell you what they want you to know on purpose, sometimes for good reasons, you know.
Absolutely.
But, and then sometimes
leave
not.
out
And there you go.
things that you should know, you know.
I
No,
just think
leave that out, you know.
I think that the federal government is too powerful, and even if someone felt that they were doing it for the right reasons, it's growed into a monster,
I agree.
and I do not think it's healthy. What needs to happen now is the people need to. Sometimes they talk about having 2 countries. All I really want is for us to just go back to the states, have more power, and you live where it suits you. And this, but the same money and the same driver's license and a border that is secure. So I'm not looking for 2 countries. I'm just looking for 50 states that actually have power.
I understand
Well,
that.
how did we get there? You must.
I don't know that. You know, it takes big effort. I know it can be done, though. You know, I know that there are smart enough people to understand how to decouple the menagerie of laws that there are there and figure out how to set a standard set of principles that is equal justice for all, and
That'd be good.
get there. But you know what? You have to start at the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying? You know, in order to have correct judgment, you know what I'm saying, you have to start at the Supreme Court that are pure, you know what I'm saying, and no politic being played there. You've got to have the highest court in the land supporting those ideals in order for that to work, and every federal judge along the way to get there. And that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do because most of the controversies that you look at have been through court, you know, have been through a federal court somewhere, bringing that up, and it's been dismissed. It hasn't been brought out fully, and it is where we are. You know, we're not perfect. We just happen to be the damn best there is.
Best there is. I'm in high hopes they can pull together this convention of states and rein in the federal government. Say, here, you will have a balanced budget, you will do this, you know. And the convention of states can accomplish a bunch if they just do it.
And Clyde, that has been my hope in Trump. You know what I'm saying? My hope in Trump all along has been he has the tenacity and he has the will, I think, to take any yard dog on that's there, and you know that is a good element. You know that he has. The problem, the other side of that is that, you know, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And you can see it right there, you know what I'm saying? You can see it in this man, you know what I'm saying? That I mean, the biggest thing I've got...
Here's a man who's a billionaire who has done nothing but lost money by trying to make this country better. So I think if he was more concerned about... I don't see him as someone who has power that is corrupting. I see him someone... I wish he would articulate this. I see him as someone who's old enough to see that he only has however many more years on earth to live, and he's doing everything he can do for his children, his grandchildren, and ours. So I admire him a great deal. I just wish he would get to a vice president, I'm going to say Ron DeSantis, for example, and say, together we can win, and let's get on with it. Let's have a strategy. And if he can't win, then support the guy that can win, or the woman that can win. Because if we don't win, I don't see how we're going to turn the page and get this country better.
This country is just right on the edge of absolutely
anarchy,
falling apart.
And when I say we, I really am not talking about Republicans and Democrats. I'm talking about
the overwhelming majority, because those that aren't the people don't believe in the Constitution to begin with.
I heard on the news this morning and last night that about 70% of this country don't want Biden to run and think he's doing a bad job. That makes me wonder what the other 30%, they're deaf or blind or damn near brain dead, you know, if they think he is doing a good job. He is doing most everything he can to ruin the country. Why? What is this supposed to accomplish? The dollar's falling apart on the world market. The border's running wild.
China's more emboldened than they've ever been.
Both him or Harris, neither one have ever really gone to the border and even looked at it. I've been to both the southern and the northern border, more than both of them put together.
You know, the biggest like I have for Biden is that it's only one thing, okay, and one thing, and he didn't handle it very well. But I do believe, you know, that Ukraine, that we need to continue to support them, you know, to hold on to our democracy, and I will give Biden some credit for that, which is one of the things that I really weighed this way and the other. It's not the worst thing I think about Trump, but you know, we've got to have each other. the European Union,
Yeah.
we've got to have that. And you can't go in there like a bull in a china closet, you know what I'm saying, and say we don't need alliances, you know what I'm saying? We want to do everything for America. Well, America will not stand, cannot stand alone in the global situation anymore. We've done past that avenue. We are not self-sufficient. We can't do it 100%. We may be able to, but the timeline for us to get there is way too long, and we'll destroy ourselves before we get there economically and every other way. So somehow we got to work with our allies.
Help Ukraine. I heard again this morning on the news that we got airplanes sitting in the desert collecting dust that their pilots know how to fly. And I heard one of the big wheels in the Air Force say this several months ago. We're just about to retire 100 of these Warthogs or whatever airplane.
Oh, I used to weld on them.
Tank killing
busters.
son of a guns.
The A-10s.
You know, and he said then, what are we gonna do with them? Set them in the desert to catch dust. He said if we'd have gave even half of them to Ukraine before Russia ever started, they'd have never turned a hand. And it's late, but it ain't too late. So let's.
I agree, and
let's do
you
it.
know, I definitely think there's some benefits, you know, about Ukraine, and one of those is to stop Russia. You know what I'm saying? You know,
I'm torn on that whole thing.
I understand.
I've been all over the world, and I've been in part
You've
of that
seen where
world.
wars don't really solve a whole lot of issues, do they?
I spent years in Afghanistan, and look how
I
we got
know.
out.
I know.
What was the point?
And I respect
I
that.
mean, I got hand crushed and my hand destroyed almost. For what? So I think the way we got out of Afghanistan was absolutely a disgrace. But I don't think we should have. I think we should have went and fought, and about 30 days later we would have left. If it was my version.
Well, you got to go in to win. And we haven't
In
had,
Iraq, we should have
and
never
we haven't
won.
had that
Made no
theory in
sense.
war since World War II.
That's right.
I mean, that's the last war that we had. We were in Vietnam
Well, you're
way
serious.
too damn long. We lost way too much for, we should have went in there with the purpose to win, and we don't have that much political savvy to do
If you're
those
going to
things.
fight, you got to be mean, and you got to be there to win. You need a break.
We are in the midst of things here on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, our Facebook Live. At a time, Gracie, that you pull us in, okay? It's time, in fact, that you tell us what other good news is going on in our world this weekend.
Alrighty. The Owensville Masonic Lodge is having an all-you-can-eat pancake and sausage breakfast Saturday, April 15th, serving from 7 until 10 a.m. Adults are $10, children are $5. Purdy's at Stony Hill Hall is having their 10th anniversary party, Shrimp and Crawdad Boil, with live music starting at 2 p.m. on Saturday, April 15th. They will have live music by Bag Lunch Blues Band.
Is that this weekend?
Yep. A lot going on this weekend.
Yes, there is.
They're having an annual spring VFW barbecue on Friday, April 14th at Owensville VFW Post 6133. They will start serving at 10 a.m. Dinners are $13, sandwiches are $7, and child plates are half price. They're having their 7th annual Bluegrass and Music Festival at Zelch Welding and Zelch Farms out on Highway T in Rosebud. That is Saturday, May 6th at 11 a.m. No admission charge. Live music by the Gasconade River Band, blacksmith and old-time demonstrations, log cabins, pioneer and farm life, food from Emma's Wood Cook Stove. That sounds great. Bring your own lawn chair and enjoy the day.
Clyde, coming
Yes.
up here, 7th annual. And Emma's still doing this for you?
And she said she miscounted. She said, I really think we've been doing something for 9 years. But I told her, well, the flyers, we already did this flyer. I said,
You got her snowballed.
leave it on there. It doesn't, I pay for the band. The food's provided. All you do is bring a lawn chair. And if you forget a lawn chair, there's tree stumps and hay bales, straw bales. And you just sit down and listen to the music. It ends up being almost like a giant family reunion of people that you don't necessarily know. I love it. It's fun.
And a lot of people do, because I've had, people from all the way to the Arkansas border to Hannibal, Missouri, come down and know me and stop here to or fro going to your bluegrass
And tell you they came,
festival and saying, do you know this Clyde Zelf?
Listen,
Said, which one?
I assume this man's coming. I've got a friend of mine named Mike Hartman who married a Kosovo woman, that's his wife, and I worked and served with him in 2004 in Iraq. Both of us got blown off. Anyway, we survived, we lived. So I haven't seen or heard of him since 2004. He's coming from Lower Alabama, I don't know where, and he's coming up to this event. Going to stay for 2 or 3 days. So that will be the farthest that I've ever heard of. So I'm looking
That's
forward to
awesome.
see Mike and his wife.
That's awesome. What else we got, Grace?
The 30th Annual GTA Car Show and Spring Festival in downtown Owensville is April 22nd. They will have the car show, registrations at 8, judging will be at noon. They will have food court, and they will have craft fair and sale vendors as well.
A lot of stuff there, isn't there?
It is. And this coming Saturday here at the White Mule, we will be having a benefit for Jeff Payne. They will have a side-by-side ride starting at 11 until 4, and then dinner will be out at 5 until 7:30. And I believe they did sell out of tickets at 400 people. So they're not
They
selling
can
tickets,
still stop.
but you can still stop in, look at the auction items, and
Auction items and come
Enjoy
by
music.
or do whatever. I mean, we've known Jeff for a long, long time, and you played with his daughter, great friends, and his son's a great basketball player, and Jeff has just had a foot removed, and he's got some issues. A young man, and it's we're here to support him also, as well as a whole bunch of other people in regard to that. So people do wonderful in our area, Clyde, supporting those that need Clyde, supporting those that need help, and that's the value that we have. And there's no politics here. You know what I'm saying?
No.
There is none whatsoever across the board. People love him, and they'll be there for him and his family, just as they are for anybody else.
And I do believe there is, I don't have anything on it, but I believe there is a benefit at the Owensville Lions Hall this Saturday for Mason
Yeah.
Griffith as well.
Oh,
Prime
okay.
dinner.
It's a supper.
Prime rib dinner.
I've got 4 tickets, so I'm going up.
Yeah, I believe.
And I
that's
know it's
going on.
Saturday evening. I think it starts at 5:30. That's when
Okay.
I'll be there.
Okay. Yeah, that's going on as well.
What else? What's here?
This Friday night at the White Mule, we'll be serving our steaks, Italian cheesy chicken, beef kebabs, country fried steak, and grilled shrimp from 5 until 8:30. Saturday, we will have pizza, wings, and hamburgers available from 11 until 5, and then our steak dinners after that until 8:30. Sundays, all you can eat pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 until 3:30.
Okay. All of our sidebars are about food here.
We like it.
You
Charlie,
can tell.
You're doing all right. Yeah.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and we'll do this again. I mean, I appreciate you all and respect you all, without a doubt, everything that you've contributed, and we disagree once in a while, but we've never been disagreeable,
That's right.
and that's awesome. I appreciate you.
Well, it's
Good luck on the May,
May
or on,
16th.
yeah.
And then this Tuesday, we've Gascony County's big drill where we're practicing if there's an emergency in the county, how would we handle that? I'm ready for that.
I know you would be. I mean, who else? Absolutely.
I'll be ready.
You'll be ready. And you be ready for this weekend and what's coming our way here. Thanks for joining us today and next week.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Okay, it's a surprise next week, but
We'll have somebody.
we'll be here, and a lot going on in our world. appreciate you being with us today, and God bless you, and we will see you next week.
And strand thousands like this man.
All right, that noise is a tornado watch. As you can see, the waters are not receding, so it's going to be